All right, welcome back to Burnaby, folks, for the Misfit Cup. It's game 2 from our field here, and it is Vortex versus Blitz in the open quarterfinal. It was Vortex on the pole to start things off, an incredibly athletic defensive play, and the vibes are high to kick things off. Vortex now taking possession. They'll float it through, and they score. How about that? An early celebration here from Vortex. 30 seconds into the game, they go up 1-0. Haven't even gotten a chance to introduce myself yet. Rude. Tino Farah, the fine folks of Trick Shot here. Which field are we on technically? Field 4, okay. Field 4 at the Misfit Cup. If you want to come and say hello at any point, we are going to be parked here in this very seat. It kind of feels like non-stop for this game, as there is 5 to 10 minutes between each one. So Vortex with the early score, and they'll lead 1-0. Now it'll be their turn to pull. A basketball-themed Vortex team here. I see a Dennis Rodman jersey. I saw a LeBron James jersey. Michael Jordan I see out there somewhere. Trey Young, I think I see as well. So the Stars have come out to play for the open quarterfinal. And Vortex with the early strike. Now Blitz will look to respond here on their next possession. I had the benefit last game of having Justin Luna as my color commentator. Unfortunately for those viewing, you got to deal with just me solo on this one. But we'll battle through together. Blitz, they'll go side to side, and almost a block by the man wearing the Trey Young Atlanta Hawks jersey. Now the long throw is up. It's towards the end zone, curling back to the left, and it's caught. Blitz is steps away from being able to tie this game, but the pass is bobbled. Vortex will take it back just outside of their end zone. A low flick that goes to the far side. There's the man wearing the LeBron James jersey, makes the next play, and Vortex still stuck on that sideline, but they'll go back to their defensive end, and some good movement laterally, working more towards the near side. Now a centering feed is up and caught. Vortex looking to make this a 2-0 game as they cross that center line. Now looking forward again. They have a receiver streaking back. The pass is on. Looking back towards the end zone now. They will go. The fake flick. Looks like an aggressive person defense from Blitz. Playing a little bit more conservative, though, as Vortex is looking closer and closer towards the end zone. They'll look back now. A pass is caught, and Vortex goes up 2-0. We're just over 3 minutes into this game, and momentum, just like last game in the junior women's quarterfinal, the momentum early is favoring this Vortex team. Of course, in that previous game in the women's quarterfinal, Vortex taking down Dusk rather handedly. It was 10-6 the final. Vortex was in control for most of that one. Now we look onto the open quarterfinals, and Vortex will take the lead here, and once again, it'll be on them for the pull. As they get that break, and as Justin was talking about during the last game, it's those breaks that will end up being the difference maker by the end of the game. Vortex starting off as the defending team last and able to cause a quick turnover at their defensive end of the field and turn it into a point in their favor, and they'll try to make that 2 straight as both teams making some early adjustments here, but Blitz continues to look for their first point of the game, and they'll look to this next possession. Looks like they're signaling that they're ready to go. Vortex with a couple of last-second discussions ongoing. But now they signal they're ready to go, and the pull is off. It'll float gingerly And the centering pass from Blitz is off. Now their turn to look upfield. Aggressive defense from Vortex. Blitz having a hard time right now clearing out of their defensive zone. The pass is forward, and it'll be way out of the reach of the intended target. Vortex will take it back. Steve Nash has made his way onto the field, wearing the iconic orange Phoenix Suns jersey, the BC native. Now the return feed to Steve Nash, and he leaps to grab it. Looking for one more connection, and they'll make it count. Vortex 3-0. Are they saying Vor what? Is that what I hear? Vor 1 or Vor what? Vortex? So something I learned in the women's quarterfinal from one Justin Luna was that this team Vortex is a pretty historic program, which brings a wealth of knowledge and experience to their matchups, and I think we're seeing that in the early stages here. Weather is cooperating so far. We saw a little bit of rain earlier in the day, but it's eased off. Just some cloud cover here, and not having to deal with an overly wet field or any moisture on the disc either. So conditions relatively favorable. But the task is on Blitz now to find an answer. Trailing 3-0 as we are just about 7 minutes here, just over 7 minutes into our second game of the day here on Field 4. Shout out to Trick Shot for getting these games broadcasted for anybody willing and wanting to watch along with us. Make sure to give them a follow across their socials. You can find them more times than not on Instagram. Now Blitz will start off from their defensive zone, still looking for their first point of the game. Pass through to the middle is caught. Motion here, and the pass is knocked down. Vortex causes another turnover and already in scoring position. By my vantage point, it looks like just about 10 feet outside of their end zone. The pass is up, it's run on two, and it's caught. Inbounds as well. 4-0, Vortex goes up. Might we see a game get to 13? We will see. So Blitz is in all sorts of trouble right now, trailing 4-0. But something we've seen at the very least from the women's quarterfinal early is how quickly things can turn on a dime. And it just takes one possession, and that's all that Blitz is looking to, I'm sure, here. Just one possession at a time, trying to get things back within striking distance. Lots of game available still to play, but looking for their first point and trailing 4-0. It has been all Vortex all the time in the opening 10 minutes of this one. Doesn't really feel like Vortex needed to make a ton of adjustments, but they're having a discussion right now with one of their coaches, who is also in theme, wearing an old Chicago Bulls Michael Jordan jersey. I see a Vince Carter. Can't see the number on what I believe is a Detroit Pistons jersey. Allen Iverson, I have to assume. I think I see a Sixers. Steve Nash back out onto the field. Of course, he made that big play on the last possession prior to the latest Vortex point. The pull is up. It is caught. Blitz officially back underway. Long pass forward. It's on the mark. Better movement this time from Blitz. They quickly get over that center line. This is where they were last time. That led to a turnover in favor of Vortex. Blitz will send one towards the end zone, and it's caught. And they're on the board. 4-1 now after Blitz gets their first point. Quick movement from their defensive zone. By my count, that was just about 6 or 7 passes before they were able to find their way onto the scoreboard. But it was a beautiful throw through the middle of the field, and the receiving player does a nice job to let it soar before touching down into the end zone. So now for maybe the first time in this game, actually, I can't remember who was the team with the opening pull, but Blitz now will be tasked with that, and something we've seen from this Vortex team already. And we're only about 11 and a half minutes in here, is how quickly they make work of their motion up the field. And we've already seen it a few times when starting from a defensive position. What might they bring now in an attacking position? The athleticism has been on display. Actually, I mean, even from the first play that we saw, there was a diving catch that put possession in favor of Vortex, and that eventually led to their first point, which put them up 1-0. So the pull is up, and touchdown onto the field. It'll be Vortex possession. They'll start off from in deep of their zone. Aggressive defending from Blitz. Vortex is remaining in their defensive zone. They're now in their end zone here. Have to escape here at some point. They'll look to the far side of the field. A couple of shorter passes to try to change their positioning, but they are still in deep. They'll look a little bit deeper. So they have a player up the field for a bit of a Hail Mary if they can get it off, but they're electing to go with some of these shorter feeds for the time being. Now across, the pass is up, it's knocked down. No foul on the play, and it will still remain Vortex possession. Vortex is bringing the vibes from the sideline, and Vince Carter makes a pass, or a catch, excuse me, diving backwards, and that puts a little momentum in their favor, looking up the field, but Blitz will try to make another defensive stand. They're doing a good job of keeping Vortex hemmed in for the time being, and now finally they approach that center line. This has been the longest possession we've seen in this game. Both teams have made quick work of their motion. Now through to the middle of the field. The pass is off, a quick give and go, and Vortex is approaching a scoring position. Two-man press, or two-person press, excuse me. Vortex will float back, and a beautiful diving catch again by the man wearing the Vince Carter jersey, and a give and go that results in him looking upfield. Vortex will float it through towards the end zone and unable to make contact with it. So Blitz with a defensive stand. They'll try to break. They'll start off from their own zone, and an interception that goes the way of Vortex, still in their attacking position. And a chance to right their wrong from a moment ago. Again, just around 10 feet away from the end zone. They'll look more towards the middle and stretch to the far end. Now back towards the center. The pass is through, and they will score, reclaiming that 4-point advantage. Now up 5-1 over Blitz. Just about 15 minutes into this game. It looked like momentum was going to go in favor of Blitz there after they scored the prior point and had a defensive stop, but they give it away moments later, and Vortex takes advantage. And both teams will go back towards their sidelines and have some discussions ongoing, make whatever adjustments they deem necessary. But Vortex keeps their foot on the gas. And they will again be on the pull here after making quick work. And credit to them as well after maybe a bit of a forced pass. I don't know if that's even the right way to put it. It was a pass towards what could have been another point scored that ended up knocked down by a Blitz defender, and that turned into them looking upfield, but then a knockdown pass that goes against that same Blitz team, and that puts Vortex into a scoring position, which they do end up taking advantage of in the open quarterfinals. Everyone ready to go, and the pull is up. Slows down as it goes deeper towards the Blitz end of the field, and we are back underway. Floating forward, a nice catch by the receiver. Blitz looking ahead quickly. Still lots of time to work with here, but trailing by 4. 5-1 is the score. And looks like there's a foul being called. And it will not be contested. Blitz takes it back, and maybe a bit of a forced pass there. So Vortex will take it back, and already in the offensive zone, so a chance to extend that lead. Floating ahead. First pass is complete. Person D from Blitz. Trying to get in the eyes and the hands of the attacking team, and it's caught. Vortex gets another one. Now 6-1. And we are less than 20 minutes into this game. This is just a clinic right now the Vortex is putting on. Last game we saw on this field for the junior women's quarterfinal, that Vortex team took down Dusk rather handedly, and now it looks like that experience of Vortex continues to march on here, now in the open quarterfinal. Don't even necessarily know if you could chalk it up to like one team being a little more prepared early on versus another team that wasn't necessarily. I think we're just seeing this well-oiled machine coming from this Vortex program. And on a championship Sunday, when there's a lot on the line here at the Misfit Cup, Vortex just seems like a team on a mission here, and they have taken advantage of opportunities that have been presented to them, as well as opportunities that they sort of make up themselves. And what I mean by that is when Blitz is the attacking team, it's just an aggressive press by these Vortex defenders, and they eventually turn into scoring opportunities that they've been able to take advantage of. And now we may see some more of that here after scoring that last point to make this a 6-1 advantage. They will be the pulling team, and Blitz will look to answer back. The disc is up. It goes low to the ground, and Blitz will collect. Towards the center of the field. Blitz looking for any kind of help. They find it with a streaking player coming towards the near side, and it looks like there's a foul being called. No contest by the Vortex defender. It will remain Blitz possession. Looking for the block with his foot, and a low grab by a leaping forward. Long pass on the flick that goes up and almost caught through the fingers of the receiver. Looks like it just deflected off his own hands, and now, much like we talked about before, of Vortex making their own opportunities. They may do so here after a defensive stop. Nice passes through, and it's hung on to, now floating towards, and Blitz will get a stop, but a foul is going to be called. And it will remain Vortex possession. I will say I do like the fouls that happen right here because I can hear the discussion. I believe the quote I heard was, "I mean, he jumped into me." I can't argue with that in this self-officiated sport. But it will be Blitz possession now. They will force a turnover and in their own attacking position now, as it will flow towards the end zone. It's caught just before. One more pass through, and they'll score. Now a 6-2 game in favor of Vortex, but you got to start with one. I feel like there's some animosity between these two teams. I didn't hear a lot of. I feel like I didn't hear a lot of chirping in the last game, and I feel like I'm hearing it here a little bit more. So 6-2, Vortex still leads, but maybe a little momentum in favor of Blitz. They will try to build this towards a comeback over the 20-minute mark of this, our game 2 on Field 4 on Championship Sunday. And now a rare position where Blitz will be tasked with the pull. They've been the receiving team on, or the collecting team, I could say, for much of this one. So Vortex signals that they are ready. Blitz looks like they're ready to go as well. Their defensive line is well lined up, and the pull is high to the sky. It's floating a little bit backwards, and they won't be overly pleased with this field positioning as Vortex is starting off on the offensive side of center, and Blitz maybe in a bit of a precarious position. And Vortex always so quickly with their motion forward, and right on cue is that going to count. Looks like they're just shy of scoring, and now discussion ongoing. They're going to maintain possession and just walk it back to where the pass was originally made. And back underway. The touch of the disc, a leaping Vince Carter knocks it down. And unable to maintain possession. Now Blitz with the chance on the break from their own side of center. Swing pass goes to the far side. They have a receiver cutting back. Defended well. They'll go and elect with a shorter pass towards the near sideline in front of our broadcast booth. Now back towards the middle. A give and go that works to perfection. Try to create some more space into an open area. But aggressive defending from Vortex. Remember, Blitz was originally the defending team here after they scored the latest point, but trail 6-2. They'll try to make it back-to-back points on back-to-back possessions. The throw is up, and it's caught. Well, well, well. 6-3 all of a sudden. Is it too early to say don't go anywhere? Can't contain the excitement on field 4. And now an interesting position that we haven't really seen Vortex in throughout this game to this point is how do they answer back when momentum is clearly in favor here. It's been Vortex in a commanding position and oftentimes with possession. But now they've given up 2 straight and 3 on the last 4 possessions that we've seen. But they have been a team that works their field position quickly. And might they see an answer back? Of course, that's what they would love, but they're going to have to deal with a defending Blitz team who is going to be feeling a little bit confident after their last stand. Vortex was in a position to score before it turned into a turnover in Blitz's favor, and they work up the field with relative ease shortly there afterwards. Able to cut the lead in half. Waiting for the signal from Vortex on their offensive line. Looks like Dennis Rodman, I think, is instructing said offensive line. Chicago Bulls legend. Steve Nash will collect. I believe it's LeBron James over there. Some contact in the middle of the field. No foul is called, and Vortex will look up. An athletic play to get the pass off now to the near side. Quick flick that goes up and is caught. And methodically through to the middle. Now back to the near side. Nash looks up the sideline, and another lob pass towards, and some contact there. Might that be an injury? No. Looks like everybody's all right, and we're back at it. But the physicality is showing itself in the opening half of this open quarterfinal. Back towards the center line. It is still Vortex possession. They're making a little bit slower movement here, but strategically they'll say, and now they're inching closer and closer towards another point, and right on cue they'll find it. That's the answer back they had hoped for, and one that we kind of expected here based on the way that they've played. Blitz had a defensive stand on the last possession, but unable to find it this time around. Vortex takes advantage, and the lead is now 7-3 on the latest catch. Vortex will now look to their defensive line, something they've seen some success with in this game as well, causing turnovers and turning it into scoring opportunities. A couple of points have come on the break in their favor. Blitz with some momentum on their side from the last 2 points, and not to necessarily say that it's out of their favor after that, but a point here would certainly help their case and keep this game within striking distance. Trailing by 4. And remember, they went down 4-0 in the opening, well, what did we say at the time? It was about 5 minutes or so, I think, maybe less than that, when Vortex went up 4-0. And Blitz was able to string together a couple of defensive stands as well as offensive pushes. And they'll need some more of that after settling into this game. The pull is up. This is a much better look than the last time we saw Vortex here, as this one goes more or less the length of the field. And now a long stretch pass that goes up. Everybody leap for it. It's caught. Blitz able to knock it down, and they'll score. What was that? 2 passes before ending up in the end zone, and that's what I'm talking about there in terms of momentum. Blitz makes quick work, and they cut that lead back down to 3. 7-4 now they trail. A nice drawn-up play by the forward line for Blitz. They sent a man in streaking deep after immediately collecting the pull, and then it was just one more touch after that before they find themselves back onto the scoreboard. We are approaching the midway mark of this game. And remember, you can catch all the action here from Field 4 on Trickshot. TrickShotLive.com. Pretty, a lot of versatility, I would say, coming from the Trickshot folks now. Pretty cemented in the world of hockey, now lacrosse, and dabbling into Ultimate. What's next, would you say, huh? Huh, boss man, what would you say? Basically, what I'm saying is if you have a sport that needs broadcasting, I think you know who to call. Pull is up. Vortex will start from deep in their zone, and the Blitz defenders making their way into their defensive stand. Instructions from the sideline are underway between both respective coaching staffs. And aggressively, 3 defenders from Blitz just swarming the carrier right now. Vortex with a great job to break free of that. A diving catch from the far side. Vortex still deep in their defensive zone, though. They have a man, or 2 rather, that are way upfield over the center line. There's only 1 Blitz defender back if the throw can go towards. Vortex wants the stretch feed. They're able to move forward a little bit. Now it's up on the flick and knocked down by the lone Blitz defender back. And Blitz with an opportunity now to make it 2 straight for the second time in this opening half. And a defensive play, though. Is there a foul being called? Nope. Everybody back to their feet. Vortex reclaims possession.
Kevin, get it. Kevin, get it. Get it, Kevin.
Back over the center line, and just as quickly onto the offensive side, it'll float towards the near side. It's caught. Vortex still with it. Floating towards the middle. The pass is good.
Dig, look at Kevin. Kevin. Good, good.
Looking back once more, and a give and go underway. Look back to the near side. Is that caught or is it down? It being discussed. And it looks like it's going to stay Vortex possession. Fake pass and back towards the near side. Some more shorter passes Vortex is completing here. Another pass that makes its way through. Vortex inching closer to their scoring position. Maybe just need one more pass. They'll put it through and unable to maintain possession. The Blitz defender might have just caught a piece of it, but they'll now start from deep in their zone. Remember, they were the, or are the, I should say, the defending team here. Chance to break. And this would put them in a position which would cut the lead down to 2. A beautiful pass is off and caught. One more backwards. Blitz with some momentum and moving upfield. They'll throw it ahead, and it's caught. The deficit cut down to 2 as Blitz makes it 2 straight scores on 2 straight possessions for the second time in this game. 7-5, Vortex leads. After they were, just a finger's length away from going back in front by 4. How quickly things can change here, and Blitz back with momentum in their favor. And we are now, I believe, over halfway through, so we may see a quick break here for halftime. I'm learning. Some hand signals coming from the boss man behind me, and I'm not entirely sure what those meant. It is halftime, though, am I right? Maybe not. By my timer, but I don't have the advantage of seeing a scoreboard or seeing any kind of time aside from just my own. But it will be Blitz with the pull after they got the last break. 7-5 Vortex lead, and if you missed any of the action in this one, okay, just keep going is the instruction. Okay. If you missed any of the action so far, it was Vortex who went up 4-0 early before Blitz got their first point of the game. And then from that point forward, it's kind of been, I guess you could say, 2 steps forward, maybe 1 step back in favor of Blitz, though. They've been able to climb back into this game. They've been down by, as we mentioned, 4-0, and then it was a 3-point deficit, a 2-point deficit, kind of back and forth a couple of times here before we got to the point where we are now, 7-5 in favor of Vortex, who are looking towards their offense now and will try to bring momentum back in their favor. We are back underway. Vortex with a low pass to the far sideline, and now they'll look ahead. A long flick that goes towards the end zone, and it's caught. Is it going to count? Yes, it will. How's that for quick work? Vortex reclaims the 3-point advantage. Now 8-5, they're in front. Just based on what I've gathered so far, now it looks like we're into the half. Okay. So again, Vortex with that 4-0 lead early. Blitz able to come back here, and I don't really think either team has really staked their claim here in terms of dominance yet. I mean, obviously Vortex early, but Blitz did a good job of mounting a bit of a comeback, still trailing here by 3, and they're going to need to continue that forward momentum in their favor. They're going to need some more defensive stands, certainly. But since trailing 4-0, I don't think that this has been an outrageously uneven matchup between these two teams. Vortex just does seem a little bit more fresh, a little bit more dialed, I guess you could say as well. And their discussion will continue on going here at half with their coaching staff. And it does look like as well, I mean, something that was mentioned in the women's quarterfinal that we saw in this field just before this game between Vortex and Dusk was the fact that the Vortex had quite a few more players available to them compared to that Dusk team, and how that played a factor as the game marched on and towards the later stages in terms of fatigue playing a factor. And we'll see if that is something that comes to play in this one as well. It does look like that theme has kind of continued into game number 2 here in the open quarterfinal. It looks like Vortex does have a few more reinforcements available. And we'll keep our eye on whether or not fatigue will come into play for either of these teams, but I would say that it kind of favors Vortex in having some more fresh legs available to them. Teams will switch ends, and it will be Blitz, I believe, on the pole. No, check that. It'll be Vortex. Actually, I'm not entirely sure because both teams currently have a disc in their hand. There's a throw towards Blitz. So, okay, check that for a second time. It will be Blitz pulling. Things get a little twisted when there's 2 discs on the field at the same time. Is that fair to say? That seems fair to say. Okay, the second disc has vacated. Back down to 1. And my sanity will remain even. We are good. Blitz signaling that they're ready to go. Vortex will as well. And with that, we are underway. The second half has begun. Vortex still leading by 3, 8-5. Don't think Blitz got that quite as deep as what they would have hoped for. And Vortex will move back towards the middle of the field, more or less at the center line, just a few steps over. Quick fake pass to the near side, instead over to the far sideline. There's that aggressive defense from Blitz once again, swarming the passer. Vortex creative with their movement, able to stretch the field well and use a variety of different passes, both short and long in terms of distance. There's a man open, a low pass, and just a few feet away from scoring. They're in position for it. Blitz defending well again, and the pass is good. The score is off, and the lead is back up to 4 in favor of Vortex, now 9-5. Inching closer and closer towards that 13-point mark. Now Vortex looking towards their defenders and in a similar position to how they started off the first half of this game, with an early strike and ideally in their eyes a caused turnover here that would put them back into another scoring position. But Blitz's offense is settled in quite nicely after a bit of a slower start to this game. They've found their scoring touch and put them in a position late in the half, which cut the lead down to 2 before Vortex was able to get things back underway in their favor. And Blitz will look for some more of that here once the pull is underway. It's at the Vortex end of the field. They signal that they are ready. It'll be the ultimate Frisbee's version of Trey Young on the pole. Some shorter movement here for Blitz. Vortex looks like they're playing person D here. Long pass ahead. This has worked for them in the past. It is floating just shorter than what they would have hoped for. Sort of came back a little bit. It ends up out of play. Now Vortex will take possession. Chance to break. And this, if able to score here, would cement their commanding lead and would actually put them into their largest lead of the game. Currently up by 4. Haven't led by this many since they were up 4-0, and a chance to extend that lead to 5. Some forward movement from their defensive zone. Fake pass ahead. The receiver still wanting it. The Vortex electing to go with some back passing. Movement ahead is on the mark over the center line. It's up towards the end zone, and both players got a hand on it. And it's going to count. They score. Vortex gets the break. Now 10-5 they lead. Well, Vortex inching closer and closer to that aforementioned 13-point mark. Just 3 away. And they will be tasked with pulling. The defenders from this Vortex team have been impressive in their ability to make things difficult for the Blitz forward group and turn those into scoring opportunities themselves. I don't necessarily know if we're at a position yet where we could say Blitz needs a miracle, but they certainly do need some help, and the clock is not their friend in this case. Trailing by 5 and getting deeper and deeper into the second half. Blitz ready to go. Vortex looks like they are as well. Pull is off, and looks like a bullet over to the far sideline. It does stay in play, and Blitz has a little bit of room to work with here before the pressure comes in, but quickly it does. Long pass that looks like it's going to curl back in play. It's towards the end zone, and Vortex will cause a turnover. The vibes between these two teams feel like they are just completely different right now as Vortex knows the position they're in. Can't entirely see from my vantage point. Is there an injury, or is there, it looks like there's a player down. Or is it a foul? It's a foul, okay. So from my point, hey, boss man, maybe you can tell me what's going on here. Is it contested, or whose possession is it going to be?
They're chatting together right now.
Okay, they're chatting together.
It's on the ground.
Okay.
It seems like it's going back, and it's going to show up right there.
All right, maybe we should put a mic on you for these situations. You'd be like our rules official. Yeah, give him the mic. So now that you do have a microphone, can you tell me quickly how much time is left?
Yeah, so they've got roughly around 20 minutes left.
Okay.
But again, that is really dependent on the horn at the end of the day. Whenever that horn goes off, it'll be the final point going from there. And then that's when you'll have it, unless it is in universal point, at which there will be a tie, and then the next point wins.
That is the voice of God. Making sure everybody is well aware of the situations we got here. And speaking of situations, it's Blitz looking towards the end zone. The pass is up, and what a catch! Blitz will be fired up after that one. We'll cut the lead back down to 4. Now 10-6 in favor of Vortex. 10-6. It's getting towards a nail biter. Yeah, it's all about the efforts, right? Yeah. So 10-6 in favor of Vortex, giving up their first point in a while. I actually don't hate that idea of just spectators coming by and just like, let's get them on the broadcast. So Blitz gets some much needed momentum back on their side. But again, as mentioned, just about 20 minutes left just a few minutes ago. So if I had to guess, not much of a math guy, but if I had to guess, I would say we're probably down closer to around 17, 16-ish left. Voice of God.
18 minutes.
Oh. Yikes. Not a good sign for me. Around 8 minutes left. Blitz still with plenty of work to do here, but they have made quick work of some previous possessions. And they've had some good defensive stands as well. I think that's been a bright spot for this Blitz team, is being able to cause turnovers. It's just been a matter of taking advantage of some of those turnovers. And on the other side of the field, looking at the O-line of Vortex, one of the things that favors them is quick movement. And they're going to start off basically at center after a short pull from Blitz. And Vortex has been able to score in different possessions where there's really only been like 3 or 4 passes by my count. And we're already just at 2 here. And they are inching closer towards that position. They'll swing to the near side. Now up. It's knocked out of the fingers of the Vortex forward. Within his grasp, but unable to knock it down. Blitz will take it back. Blitz deep in their zone. A contested pass, but it ultimately will remain in favor of Blitz. Good athletic effort to knock it down, and they'll continue to look upfield. Looks like they have a bit of a cycle going in deep for some available options. Lots of motion underway for Blitz, but still electing to go with some of those shorter passes. Now a back cut that does not see a pass sent through. Lobbed forward, and it's available. It's caught as well by Blitz. Got a second chance at it after it was knocked ahead by the Vortex defender. Now it's floating towards the end zone, and unable to get a hand on it was the Blitz forward. Vortex now from their defending zone. That pass was also deflected, but still caught. Sent ahead. Run after, and unable to catch up to it is the Vortex forward wearing a Kawhi Leonard jersey, I believe. Now Blitz with a do-over from their last set. Starting from a similar position to where they were as well. They were able to move upfield quickly, but unable to connect on that last pass that would have resulted in a point. And this time it's knocked down and collected by Vortex. Quickly looking ahead. They want to float towards the scoring position. It's caught, and Vortex gets another. Now 11-6, they lead. 2 points away from the all-important 13 mark. Vibes remain high for Vortex. Weather seems to be cooperating here as well. Thought we were going to see a little bit of rainfall based on what we saw in the first game, but cooperating. And once again, Vortex in a position to pull here.
I think it's only if even the slightest bit of drizzle, if you don't mind picking it up. But if there's no drizzle like right now, it's only unless it's easier for you to just keep it up. I can take it though.
Both teams signaling, ready to go, or at least the Blitz forward line is. Vortex to follow. They look like they're ready to go, and with that, the pull is into the air. It'll slow up and float its way down towards Blitz. Fake pass through as they get their back cut. The pass isn't there. It's defended well by Vortex. Fake pass ahead, now back to the near side, and Blitz having a little bit of trouble escaping their zone. A nice curled pass is knocked down. Vortex starting off deep in their attacking zone. The team that was just defending a moment ago is getting into formation. Fake pass through, and they'll go back to the middle instead. Blitz trying to get a hand on it, and Vortex breaks free of that. Cutters towards a bit of a swim dodge, you could say, with the disc from the near side. Floating back, they'll try the other end, using the entire width of the field here well. Passes through, and the point's going to count. Now 12-6 and 1 point away from concluding this game. Vortex is. Can we get a time check here? 12 minutes remaining and 1 point remaining. If Vortex scores one more time, that'll be it. And we've seen a couple of breaks go in their favor. Does not seem like an unrealistic possibility for them to end it on this next possession. Blitz will try to, of course, extend this game a little bit longer. Both teams having their discussions. Vortex as the upcoming defending team. Blitz going to their offense. Vortex ready to go. Looks like Blitz is as well, and the pull is up. With some distance, it'll curl back towards the far side and go straight down to the field. Blitz with one quick pass to the far side. Now they're going to go with a stretch feed that was out of the reach of the intended target, and Vortex now with a position to end things, leading 12-6. They're going to have to start off deep in their defensive zone. The pass is a good one. It's up. Jumped, knocked down, and caught. Vortex has a chance here. They're fired up after that one, but they give it away. An unforced error. The pass was just a little bit too short. Now Blitz gets a do-over. Nice pass is complete. Flick is up. It's caught. Blitz now in an attacking position. One quick back pass as everybody gets upfield, and it'll go towards the end zone. Knocked out of bounds, and I believe it's going to be Vortex possession now. Similar to where they started off a moment ago, where they were quickly upfield. They elect with an easier pass. It is complete. Still deep in their zone. Another one that's complete. Forward momentum in their favor. Back pass is good. Another low one that's complete. Methodically moving up the field. One more back, and they haven't moved forward too much here as Blitz keeping Vortex deep in their zone, but still with possession, and they've had a couple of good long bombs. They have a man going up the field. Now it goes up the sideline and just out of the reach of the leaping defender, unable to clamp that one down. Blitz with another chance, trying to extend this game further. Up to the end zone again. It's out of the reach of the Vortex player and knocked down by Blitz. They're going to get back onto the scoreboard here, trailing 12-7. Oh no, they're not going to count. Check that. Upfield, Vortex knocks it down, and they look like they're in a scoring position here. The pass is off, and that one will count. That will make it 13-6. And I believe that should be game. And that is going to be game. So the open quarterfinal goes in favor of Vortex. Actually, that's back-to-back games in favor of Vortex. The previous one, the junior women's quarterfinal. Vortex taking down Dusk now in the open quarters. Vortex takes down Blitz by a final score of 13-6. And we will look on to the next matchup coming up from Field 4 here on Trick Shot. Thanks for joining us. I've been Tino Farah, and we'll see you here shortly.
Vortex trying to seal the deal on this game. One last pass up in the air. Oh, slipped through his fingers. That could have been it. The horn could have sounded and the game would have been over. Blitz now has a chance to go back the other way. Disc in, here we go. Nice flick, low to the ground. Blitz again defensively, trying to cut, make some nice cuts, great. Flick upfield. Vortex defensively was unable to make it. Blitz gets the point, but that will do it for the final score. Overall, 13 Vortex, 7 Blitz. Vortex takes this in great fashion. Overall, offensively, came out with a lot of energy at first. Blitz slowly made it back, cutting the lead down to 2, but unfortunately, after the second half, Vortex was able to take it to the extra mile. That'll do it from us, folks. Thank you so much for joining in, and we will catch you in a couple more minutes when we've got the next game coming up on Field 4.